Hi, good afternoon. This is Bathsheba Monk from Blue Heron Bookworks. Um, Thank you so much for your patronage on Patreon. And this is lesson 7 on writing your memoir. I want to talk about two things today. One is different things to include in your scene list. And the other thing is like why you're writing your memoir. So the first thing is like scenes that you're including. Now, I asked you to think about your theme and think about your first seminal scene and what scenes would go with that. Now, I don't want you to think that you have to just include scenes that are on a timeline. So, if we take our example of the three friends at the beach, for example, you're going to have a lot of incidents or a lot of things that happened when they were younger, and they can be told in flashback, they can be told in elliptical writing, internal dialogue, and we'll go over all that stuff later. But so don't think that you just have to include things like boom, 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 like in a straight line. That's not true. That's not really how you write something like this necessarily. And you are going to have to refer back to past events because these three people have a history. When you're writing a memoir, you have a history with whoever people you were writing about. So that's the one thing I really want to stress here is include everything. So if it's like, for example, the three friends at the beach, they're going to have scenes when they were young, when they had maybe a similar competition and one of them won. Or they had a situation where one saved the other one. In any event, you're going to have other scenes from the past of these characters that you want to draw on. So that's number one. Number two, the second thing, and I was just thinking about this the other day, as I told you, I'm actually starting to write a memoir now too, which is a different experience for me. I swore I'd never do it, but you all inspired me. But this is writing as a healing experience. A lot of people write their memoirs. There's a zillion reasons why you want to. Some people want to get down their family history. Some people want to tell their side of the story, and especially if they have a grudge or a grievance or something. And I think I'm addressing this to you. If you've had a difficult life and you want to like set the record straight, tell your side of the story. I would say, and I'm speaking now as a human being, not necessarily as a writing teacher, but you set the record straight in a memoir. You're just going to sort of enshrine your grievances. Okay, so I would really advise you when you're thinking about writing this to perhaps, I remember in the beginning we said that you should do a scene from several people's points of view so that you include their experience in it too and their richness to the scene. But it's also a way for you to maybe let go of what it is that you're hanging on to. And if you go back to a scene that was very painful, or there's several incidents, for example, that are very painful to you, you might find it really helpful to recast it from the other person's point of view, and first of all realize that most people aren't out to hurt you. We hurt each other all the time, but but it's not really on purpose. I keep thinking of mother-in-laws. Mother-in-laws are always and I'm not saying this because I'm a mother-in-law, but so say for example, you have a mother-in-law that you want to, set the record straight. Now, maybe early on in your marriage, the mother-in-law came to your house and she said, "Oh, that couch belongs over there," and she was very bossy about it. And maybe that one incident, or your baby, or you had a baby and the mother brings over a scale as if you don't know how to weigh your own child. Okay. Now, I'd say a couple things about this, and then you can use this in almost any situation, but the mother-in-law, unless she has some serious problems, really does want to help. It doesn't come across that way to you, who are trying to create your own life, but I think in a memoir, when you have a situation like this, you really have to understand that the other person is, no matter how it looks to you, is doing criticizing or giving you advice with love. I mean, that's just really the way it is. The mother-in-law might think that if your couch was in a certain place in the room and it would be better in another part of the room. I mean, maybe she has a great design sense, and maybe she knows that people do judge you based on, if your furniture is arranged correctly or whatever, or or maybe she thinks that you know that your baby is looking a little thin, and maybe she, as a grandmother, she really does want to make sure that you're weighing the baby and that it's getting enough nutrients. So this is like done out of love, and I would try to think about that. First of all, nobody really wants to read your grievances. I mean, that's just the bottom line. If that's your attitude, people are going to drop you after a minute or two of reading, and they're going to understand where you're coming from. But if you explain this stuff with love, like maybe women of that generation um, no longer have a place in a modern marriage, but their children, they don't have a place in that, then you can understand, and people will read that and they will get something out of it, and then it's worthwhile. And then it's good. And I think you owe that um, to uh, to to your readers, and you owe it to yourself, because that's really where a lot of healing gets done, is when you start to reframe your past experiences. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.